My name is Chris Overfelt, and I'm with Veterans for Peace. Thank you, Mr. Yarmuth and Mr. Womack. I want you to know that there is not a day in my life that I'm not grateful to live under a representative government. Thank you to all the leaders here. I want to say that I'm not here to try and make you think a certain way. I'm here to present a different side of the conversation, and you can decide what you think is right. It is vital to our democracy that we can disagree and still respect one another. I was an aircraft mechanic in the Air Force National Guard. I was based at Forbes Field in Topeka, Kansas from 2002 to 2011. I worked on the KC-135 aircraft, the airplane that refuels other planes in the air, and I deployed to Turkey and Qatar during the Iraq and Afghanistan wars. Neither of these countries will likely recover from that devastation in my lifetime. Nothing I can do in my life will make up for the hundreds of thousands of Iraqi and Afghan men, women, and children killed in these useless wars. Since our invasion of these countries, terrorism has proliferated tenfold around the world. When I joined the military, I had no idea that never in its history has the Department of Defense done an internal audit of its spending, despite it being mandated by law. It doesn't know how much money it is spending, and it doesn't know how it is spending it. It's a black hole for money. A 2016 Inspector General's report revealed that over the past 2 decades, the Pentagon cannot account for how it spent $6.5 trillion. The Pentagon budget routinely accounts for over half of the federal discretionary budget. It is no secret that there is always enough money for weapons and jails and never enough for education and the poor. Instead of this money going to health care and education for our citizens who so desperately need it, it goes to Boeing, it goes to Lockheed Martin, it goes to Raytheon, it goes to Northrop Grumman, and the list goes on and on and on. When I joined the military, I had no idea that we have 800 military bases worldwide. Why do we keep such a strong presence throughout the world? It's not to keep us safe. It's to provide Western capital with continuous access to foreign resources and markets. Most of the military budget is used not to fight wars, but to exercise soft power in the support of American capital. When I joined the military, I had no idea that all across the world, the United States supports fascist governments through military training and arms deals to ensure that they serve the interests of foreign capital and not the people that they rule over. Honduras, Guatemala, Colombia, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, UAE, Bahrain, the list goes on. And I want to be clear, this does not make us safe. It makes us less safe. And Mr. Womack, I appreciate your comments about getting job skills from the military. I am very grateful for getting my education and my skills as a mechanic and the mentorship I received from the great people in the military. But we do not have to use systems of violence and brutality to try and alleviate poverty here at home. When I left the military in 2011, I began substitute teaching in Kansas City and working at an agricultural mentorship for young people. I've met people here who have also suffered from these wars and the misplaced spending priorities that support them. On my farm and in my classroom in Kansas City, I work with communities that are in direct need of funding. Instead of health care, schools, and early childhood education programs, they only get a militarized police force and punitive mass incarceration programs. 39% of Missourians are low income, and black residents are incarcerated at 4 times the rate of white residents. We need to change the war economy and use these funds to provide health care and education to everyone. The moral budget says that we can save $350 billion by redirecting our foreign policy away from war and militarism, closing our overseas bases, and refusing to subsidize military contractors. We can also cut 25% of the $179 billion spent on mass incarceration in the form of police courts and private contractors. I want to end by saying that I come here to ask that we stop funding systems of violence and brutality and start funding systems of love that support people in our communities. Thank you.